Good morning. Welcome to the NYNJPA weather video forecast discussion from March 1st, 2013. Welcome to March. It looks like it's coming in like a lion for the most part, with temperatures ranging from the mid to upper 30s over the northern interior and upper 30s to even a few lower 40s along the coast. We have a wind from the west and northwest around 5 to 10 miles per hour. And we do have some variable cloud cover over the northern tier with a few snow flurries and showers dropping south. Overall, not too bad of a day. Temperatures basically ranging from the lower to mid 40s over the northern interior, mid to upper 40s along the coast, with pretty much near normal temperatures for this time of year. Maybe slightly above normal. Nothing too crazy. Pretty much a tranquil weather pattern is in place. Taking a look at the latest radar, you can clearly see we have a disturbance dropping south from our departing upper level low. Kind of a one last parting gift before it leaves. For the most part, most of this is not reaching the ground. We do have a few scattered snow showers and flurries. No significant accumulation is expected at all, but it might look nice as you're driving around. So there could be a passing shower here or there, but otherwise expect scattered to variable cloud cover, light winds, and tranquil weather conditions. Taking a look at the latest infrared satellite picture, again, you can see our upper level low and our storm finally becoming the primary low pressure system along the coast here around the Canadian Maritimes. So as this upper level low lifts to the north and east, we have this area right here of basically a weak disturbance dropping south and will likely rotate through. You can see one of the surface reflections down here, another one here, another one here. So overall, we're going to be dealing with scattered to variable cloud cover and possibly an isolated shower here or there. Nothing too crazy at all. And for the most part, for much of this upcoming weekend, we're going to be dealing with tranquil weather conditions and temperatures pretty much seasonable for this time of year in the mid to upper 40s. However, all eyes are on the Pacific. Why? Well, this disturbance right here. This is our storm that we're keeping an eye on. Now, I've been saying that this pattern should lead to more of a progressive track here and more eastward track. Now, I know the models are doing a little bit of jumping around here. They shifted north as of the 0Z model guidance. I'd be careful of that, though. I'm going to show you why in just a moment. But again, this is what we're going to be keeping an eye on. And by this evening, this disturbance will be moving into the west coast. And I think maybe tonight, but more likely for tomorrow's 12Z model runs, we're going to get a much better handle on exactly how strong this disturbance is and how fast it's moving. And I think that the models are going to start to zero in on a solution here. So I would say by probably Saturday night, Sunday morning, we'll see a coming together of all the model guidance, and we'll get a really good handle on exactly what to expect from this storm. So what am I still thinking? Well, let me show you. This is the latest operational European model guidance from the Penn State EWOL website. And again, for this weekend, pretty much tranquil weather conditions, high pressures in control, seasonable temperatures in the mid to upper 40s. No big deal through this weekend. If you have any plans, go out and enjoy them. Everything's going to be fine. There won't be any type of real significant weather impact whatsoever. Sure, it'll be a little bit cool, but otherwise not that bad at all. Perfect way to start off March for this time of year. But by the time we get into next week, here we have our disturbance. Now, what the European model guidance is doing and what the GFS model guidance is trying to do here is try to get this low pressure system become trapped under this upper level low. The problem is that, as I've been saying for the past couple of days, this right here, you see this specific pattern right here with this trough in the west and this ridge pushing into the plains? That would argue that you really have to basically thread the needle here. You have to have a perfect timing at the exact right point to trap this low pressure system, to pull it west, at the same time, while pulling it west, not driving warm air into the coastal plain, which would change all of this over to rain anyway. At the same time, allowing the low pressure system to slow down so that you get your storm. So basically, you have to have everything work out perfectly at just the right time in just the right way. Yeah, That's why I'm a bit concerned here, especially when you have this, which is nowhere near perfect for any type of major winter storm. Now, yes, there is some blocking over here in the northern Atlantic. Now, this is much further east than what you would want for a major winter storm. Is it going to slow down the pattern just a bit? Yeah, it will, and that's been kind of the whole idea. That's how you get an upper level low able to dive south anyway. But I don't think it's enough to lead to this solution. So while there is a threat, and I'll tell you this right now, if you're along the New Jersey coast, whether this storm moves well to the south of the region or does what the European model guidance is showing right now, there will be a threat for coastal flooding because you have a strong easterly wind driving right into the coastal plain. So there's clearly a threat here, but I'm being very measured, okay? I'm not going off and like putting out snow maps or showing, hey, you know, if everything works out perfectly, you end up with 40 inches of snow. It just isn't responsible. So here again is the solution. Now I just want to show real fast. This is the European model guidance ensemble model guidance. This is the ensemble. This is the operational. Okay, this is like one model, and this is about 20 models. Okay, now the reason why I'm showing you this, and let me slide this here just a little bit, is to show that this operational model guidance is an outlier. Okay, you have to understand that it's an outlier. The ensemble model guidance, which typically does very well, is much further east. I mean, significantly further east at 500 millibars on Wednesday night. And that's important because if this upper level low is here along the coast, that means your best lifting is out here over the Atlantic. Whereas in this solution on the operational model guidance, it's over basically the southeast. So your best lifting is right here, thus big storm. So if this is right, then that storm is much further east and it's practically a miss. So you can kind of see what we're dealing with here is that I'm trying not to jump onto the most extreme solution, which is what the operational model guidance is trying to show here. And using just a little bit of, well, let's just say, experience in knowing that this type of weather pattern here on the West Coast would not support this. Just, 9 times out of 10 it doesn't. There is that one time, but again, we have some time before we go off and make that type of forecast. And of course, at the surface, kind of making my point here, here's the operational guidance with the low pressure system right on the Delmarva, which by the way would lead to a very strong easterly wind. And then here is the ensemble model guidance, again, much further east. Look where, it's all the way out in the Atlantic here. It's moving due east, whereas this one's moving more east-northeast or even northeast. So you can kind of see where I'm getting at here, is that this is in no way a slam dunk, and the extreme solution shown by the operational European model guidance is strongly argued against by the model's own ensemble model guidance, which typically does a little bit better overall. So this is why, calm down, we got a couple days to watch this. If you're along the immediate coast, whether the storm stays well to our south or tracks like the European model guidance is showing, you still have to use some caution and be prepared for at least some coastal flooding here. But I'm not ready to go all out with this storm and make, crazy forecasts or anything of that nature. Let's just chill out, wait, and see how this evolves. And then finally, I just want to show that on Thursday, you can see, look at the difference in the storm here. This on the ensemble model guidance has the upper level low out in the Atlantic and exiting out, and a nice ridge is starting to build into the Ohio River Valley and into the northern Mid-Atlantic. We're on the back side of this upper level low, which is usually a dry area for a location. And you can see this progressive weather pattern. Notice that on both model guidance, whether it's the operational or the ensemble, they both have a progressive Pacific pattern with a trough over the western United States. This, by the way, is not in any way, shape, or form a positive PNA pattern, or basically a ridge in the west. This is a trough in the west. Trough in the west. So you can see they both show a progressive pattern to the west of this storm. The difference is that this, in the operational, the one model guidance from the European suite, is basically creating a upper level low that gets trapped and the storm becomes vertically stacked, slowing it down, stalling it off the coast here, and even still moves basically due east. And the ensemble Malgans is far more progressive, more in line with this type of weather pattern, by the way, out to the west, and shoots the storm right out into the Atlantic. So you kind of see what we're dealing with here as meteorologists, and what's really behind all these maps that are going out there on the internet. Basically, right now, my advice to you, sit back, wait, give this a few days to kind of flesh out. Don't get too overexcited yet. If you're along the coast, be prepared for coastal flooding regardless. After all, we are heading towards that hurricane season by June, so it's not a bad idea to get your supplies ready anyway. And we're going to sit back and see how this unfolds, and if there's any major updates that need to be made, of course I'll make them. Looking on beyond that point, just to kind of give you an idea where we're going on after this storm exits, whether it moves up the coast or not. Notice that we end up with a more zonal weather pattern starting to set up. And then we have a nice little storm starting to dig over the west with a nice big ridge building over the east coast. Now this upper level low would suggest, if this is correct, would suggest a nice backdoor cold front potential over New England, possibly pushing into the northern mid-Atlantic. So don't be surprised if, let's say, Philadelphia is in the 60s and New York City is in the 40s with this type of weather pattern for next week. Plenty of time to watch that, though. So next weekend should be pretty volatile if we're dealing with a backdoor cold front. Just another fun little forecasting question and problem to solve. Well, that is your latest weather discussion from NYNJPA Weather. Of course, I'm your meteorologist, Stephen DiMartino. You can follow the latest weather information at nynjpaweather.com and NYNJPA Weather on Twitter and Facebook. Have a great weekend. Stay safe out there.